Welcome back into In Focus Kentucky. I'm now joined by Mike Berry, who is with the Kentucky Derby Festival. Thanks so much for making time for joining us here at Churchill Downs in Louisville.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me during a great Derby Festival so far. 1 week to go.
And for people that aren't aware of what the Derby Festival is and what your organization does, explain it to us.
Well, you know, the Derby had been around about 85 years before somebody came up with this idea of, well, maybe we need to have a big community celebration. So back in 1956, four guys got together and did a parade, and that was the very first Kentucky Derby Festival. 63 years later, we're 70 events that occurred during a 2 or 3 week time frame. We draw about 1.5 million people to our events, and we have an economic impact of over $130 million. That's just the festival. That's not the Derby itself, into this local economy.
Now, I know that it is hard to nail down, especially for this show, all the different things you all planned for this week that's coming up, but what are some of the highlights that are on tap for this year's Derby Festival? Well,
some of the events that have already occurred, obviously Thunder over Louisville, which was our kickoff. Beautiful day, great air show, terrific fireworks. We've had balloon races. We have had a half marathon and a full marathon where we ran over 13,000 runners through the streets of Louisville and actually through the infield of Churchill Downs. So it's been great so far. What's coming up on Monday night, we have the great bed races. Yes, I said bed races. Wow. We have companies who will take literally a mattress, put wheels on them. We even have ringers thrown in on this, track team stars, etc., and they push a bed that has a steering mechanism. We have hopefully give away $1 million in a golf tournament that we have going on Tuesday. The Great Steamboat Race on Wednesday. That'll pit 3 boats this year. Normally it's just the Belle of Louisville and the Belle of Cincinnati, but the American Duchess, it's an overnight steamboat from Memphis, is coming upriver, and she's going to try to take on the other 2. And then the event that started it all on Thursday, the Republic Bank Pegasus Parade. And the Pegasus Parade will be about 100 units, equestrian units, inflatables, VIPs. Our grand marshals this year are Denny Crum and Joe B. Hall. The theme of the parade is Throwback Thursday, gotcha. So they were grand marshals in 1975. We're also honoring the 50th anniversary of the American Basketball Association, the ABA, and the Kentucky Colonels, who won that championship back in the 70s, are having their reunion here and bringing it up to current day. The Louisville City Football Club is going to be honored as an honorary Grand Marshal for winning the USL Championship this year.
Wow, so a lot of activity for sure.
Absolutely.
That's going on. I know we've got some very low-key jackets on today, but you also have a Pegasus pin that
That's
you have
right.
on your lapel. Talk to us about that today.
This little plastic pin began in 1973 as a way to generate funds for the Derby Festival. Then they sold for $1. Now they're $6 at retail. You can get them in about 1,000 outlets throughout the region, or if you come to the event and you need it, $7 at the gate. And when I say you need it, it's because of all those 70 events of the Derby Festival, about 30% of them you get in free with a Pegasus pin. So it really is a gift that keeps giving. It's a sponsorship tool. It's a way for people, individuals, to help underwrite the festival. And we will sell more than $1 million of Pegasus pins during the year. That's very important because the festival's budget is $7 million annually, and we're a private nonprofit organization. We don't get a cut of the racing income out here. We don't get city funding, etc., no tax dollars. So we're raising this each year. It's a great way for the public to be involved, and it's a great collectible. Since 1973, if you got a full set of pins, if you want to get rid of them, go to eBay.
Now, I know you mentioned earlier that the Kentucky Derby Festival is impacting the city of Louisville. So talk about the economic impact and how important it is to have an organization like yours doing so much work in the city, in the state.
Well, the impact is really twofold for businesses here. As I mentioned, over $130 million, according to a study that's actually now about 4 years old, that the University of Louisville did for the festival. That $130 million is what the festival, what our sponsors, what our patrons spend during that 2-week period, except during Derby weekend. We don't take credit for anything at the track or any hotels or restaurants then. They have their own numbers, and when you add them together, you can imagine that number is very significant for our community. But more importantly, what the businesses tell us is that the Derby Festival not only brings business to town, but it brings quality of life for businesses. So when you have large employers here like UPS, when they're bringing executives to town, they will actually point to the Derby Festival as a way that the community comes together and opportunities for those employees, their families, their friends to get involved. Because we have over 4,000 volunteers with Derby Festival, so literally it is a part of the community fabric of Louisville.
For people that want more information about the Kentucky Derby Festival, where can they go to get those details?
We have a great website, kdf.org, that you can go to, or if you go to the Android or the iTunes store, you can download our app. Just type in, search for KDF or Kentucky Derby Festival. It's very interactive. It'll help you set up a calendar, and we will take every minute of your time between now and the first Saturday in May.
Well, Mike, we really appreciate you making time for joining us today here on In Focus Kentucky, and good luck with all the events that you have scheduled this week. Coming up, we have Kentucky Senate Majority Leader Damon Thayer to talk about the equine industry as a whole. Next, here on In Focus Kentucky.